Hello, I'm in this magnificent setting with Loch Marie behind me in the Northern Highlands in Scotland. And this is the final of 5 videos, just really wanting to conclude the series on being creative and walking into all that God's called you to. And I guess I want to ask you a couple of questions. And the first is, have you ever heard of Gladys Aylward? I'm guessing that you probably have. One of the things I found encouraging about Gladys Aylward is that she said this about herself. I wasn't God's first choice for what I've done in China. I don't know who it was. It must have been a man, a well-educated man. I don't know what happened. Perhaps he died. Perhaps he wasn't willing. And God looked down and saw Gladys Aylward, and God said, well, she's willing. And I found it fascinating when you look at her story that everybody that she talked to told her she wasn't qualified. She wasn't the right person. She didn't have what it took. And yet she knew she'd heard from God and she cracked on and did it anyway. And I wanted to tell you that story to encourage you for your next step. And I wonder, is there something that God's asking you to do today? Is there something specific that you have on your heart that you've been pondering and wondering and thinking, well, it couldn't be me. I wonder who it will be. And I'm not talking about that person, that woman that you look up to at church. I'm not talking about the church leader's wife. I'm not talking about the worship leader. I am talking about you and what God has laid on your heart to do, however small. What is it that he's laid on your heart to do? And it's kind of okay to say, why me? But God says, why not you? Why not you? It doesn't matter how small you are, because you've got a massive, enormous God living inside you by the power of his Holy Spirit. So why not you? What's your race? What's your calling? Do you know? It may be that your calling is to be doing exactly what you're doing right now, and that's fantastic. Maybe all you needed to hear today was, do what you're doing, do it faithfully. God's watching and he sees. And maybe there's something that is on your heart. Maybe there's something that you've been sort of dreaming about, even maybe sort of thinking it's impossible and I can't see how. And I just guess I'd ask you, what's the next step in God? If that was to be of God, and it might be, it might not be, but what's the next thing that you do? What's your next step? What would you do if you knew for sure that was God? Maybe that's something that you could just explore or talk through with someone. God wants you and me to step into the fullness of what it is he has called us to do. And that might mean setting some stuff aside that you're doing that actually you're not called to do. And it might mean starting to do some stuff that you know you're supposed to be doing, but you're actually too afraid to do. So I guess I'm challenging you today. What is it that God's calling you to do? If you're not already doing it, what's the next step that you can take towards on that journey of yours, on that race to live the life he's called you to? If you're living that life, then serve faithfully. And maybe you don't feel this does apply to you. Maybe you think, yeah, I'm in the right place, I'm doing the right thing, this is exactly where God's called me to. And that's fantastic too. Then I'm going to ask you a question too. Is there someone you can see who's dreaming, who might be being challenged by God to do something different, something that nobody's ever done before? If you look at all those women in the Bible, every one of them did something nobody'd ever done before, if we look at their story. And so maybe there's someone that you're looking at and you're thinking, well, what, can it possibly be God? Well, maybe it is. So I'm going to challenge you. Can you encourage them? Could you listen to them as they try and explain it and talk it through and think it through? Could you pray for them? It's with Gladys Aylward. God had called someone else. She was sure someone else more competent had been called, and yet they didn't step out into it. And just encourage you as you hold that idea of what you feel God might be calling you to do. Treat it preciously. Only share it with people that you feel won't be the people that pour cold water on, but are the people that help ignite the fires of God inside you and encourage you and say, yeah, go on, that's great and slightly crazy idea, but it might just be a God idea. And if you just don't know what your calling is, what your purpose is, then look around you to see something that you can see God in. See what God's doing already and get behind that. Whatever it is where you see God moving and God meeting with people, get in there, serve the teas and coffees, clean the floors, whatever it takes. Do something to facilitate and support where you see God moving. And I just want to finish with a couple of verses from the Bible, which seems like a great place to end. This one is in Philippians 1:6. I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion on the day of Jesus Christ. And then one of my favourites in Hebrews 12 verses 1 and 2. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith. So I just want to encourage you. I don't know what your race is, but I want to encourage you to have the courage to run it, to walk it, to stand in it, to do whatever it is, to do what it is that God's called you to do, because that is where you will find the most fulfillment and the most joy. This has been me overlooking Loch Maree in the Northern Highlands. Have a great day.